If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is July the 29th, 2022, and today the topic is doubt and fear. Y'all, I just realized that I'm a month away from my birthday, y'all. My birthday is a month away, so I guess to God be the glory for that. Your girl's turning 36 this year, and I don't have no plans at the moment, so we're going to see what the Lord do with all of that. But, yeah, man, look, birthday's a month away from today. Goodness, I'm a little bit distracted in this moment, y'all, because my foot went to sleep, like right when I clicked the live and all that. Then this random sensation kind of hit me. I think it's just trying to distract me, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep pushing and keep going. But yeah, man, look. I know look. I'm all off track, or discombobulated with my different phrases that I say. Yeah, I usually say, I hope that you guys had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine, right? And yeah, mine was fine. Mine was fine overall. There's a lot of little things that happened yesterday. Had a couple of conversations, one on GSL and then one on another, a gentleman's platform. I feel like both of them went well and everything overall. Shout out to those individuals. One of them is a self-proclaimed atheist, and it was interesting because I know after the conversation, he was like, "Oh, this went really well," and I was like, I mean, I don't know what he expected and whatnot, but I think it went well as well. I know that there was differences of opinions and everything like that, but I felt like we were able to agree to disagree and have a civil conversation, and so I think there's importance in that. I think there's power in that, and so shout out to him, man. Hopefully you all will probably either see or hear that really soon, and yeah. And to God be the glory again for change and for growth and whatnot, man. Because maybe a few years ago, I probably would have. I don't know. I don't know if I would have talked to him. And it's not because just it's not just because he's an atheist, but it's because usually that is like a combative conversation depending on who you're talking to, and I understand that. So I don't know. I guess maybe God, sent him my way, or vice versa, because he did reach out about having the conversation, and I felt led to go ahead and do it. I was like, sure, I'm not opposed to having a conversation. So, again, I feel like it went well, and so that's something that we should just keep in our hearts and minds as believers, right? Don't be afraid to talk to someone else that may believe differently. I mean, at the end of the day, if everybody can be civil and again, come into the conversation with I guess exuding the fruits of the spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, and all of that. I mean, you just never know. You just never know what the Lord will do with that. But yeah, so that's something that happened yesterday. After my interviews and whatnot, now there was a lot going on with NJ. Yeah, so look, let's pray for the little guy. Now I think he's in his picky eater stage. And so obviously his father and I, we are trying to get him out of the habit of only wanting to eat what he wants to eat when he wants to eat it. And so, yeah, pray for all of us. Pray for all of us. But, yeah, so that was something that was going on yesterday as well. But, I mean, I guess let's go ahead and get into this conversation about doubt and fear because, y'all, a lot has happened this morning. A lot has happened this morning. And some things I feel like maybe just for me, but then some things I feel maybe I should share. Um, so here we are. So basically, long story short, what had happened was, um, I ended up waking up around 2:44 this morning. And when I read the Bible verse centered around that, it was relatively, I feel like it was good news and positive. So y'all can check that out. Google 224, excuse me, 244, and see what the Bible verse was that I read this morning. I didn't write it down, so hopefully if you Google it, you'll get the same thing I did. But anyway, um, but part of the reason I'm sharing this is because although that verse was like a good verse to read and reflect on, the way I woke up was a little disturbing. So basically, I had a dream, and I don't remember everything, unfortunately. But the main things I do remember is I was somewhere. I guess maybe I was outside somewhere. I don't. I was somewhere, and I was walking, and I saw a snake like in the distance, and I'm like, and I just kind of kept walking my way or walking in the opposite direction, and then the snake quickly came my way, right? And jumped at me, right? And so I caught it, right, in my hands, which, hey, by the great, look, dream miracle is on another level, apparently. I don't know. So I caught the snake by the hand, right? And with my hands, I caught it. But then I started asking for help. I was like, asking for help. And then that's when I woke up. Then I woke up with the feeling like I need to protect myself or something. Like I woke up with like a feeling of needing to protect myself. I won't get too deep into that because I think that might be just for me. But that's how I woke up at 2:44. And then I reached for my phone and saw that it was 2:44. So yeah. Now, interpreters and whatnot, hey, if you guys I guess, I don't put this out here. So, I mean, if anybody knows what that means or whatever, hey, Ma, when, call me. Let me know what the Lord has told you about that dream. I did look up, what dreammoves.com had to say about it. And it gave me a little bit of understanding, at least about some of the dream, about the snake, about, did I look up jumping? I did look up jumping, but I don't think I saw anything with that. I think I looked up catching, and that gave me some a little bit of. But see, look, I did all of this in the beginning of the morning, and I've engulfed myself in other things, so I can't remember everything that I looked up. But it gave me an understanding. It gave me, I did want to look up what a snake leaping at you means, and that had the prompt on dreammoves.com, but when I clicked it, it went to a page that wasn't available, and I just was like, because that was exactly what snake did. It chased. I think chased was another thing that I looked up that gave me an understanding as well. So yeah, um so basically, there's a lot, y'all. There's a lot to say. But I'm sharing this dream with you guys, and I'm sharing this with you all because it does lead to the topic for today. Um, but also because, well, okay, so let me tell y'all what done happened. So basically, over the past few days, or maybe the past few weeks, I've been looking at different testimonies and listening to people that have had these spiritual encounters, whether they're you know positive or negative spiritual encounters and whatnot. And there's something in me that desires to have spiritual encounters, but then to be honest, there's something else in me that's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to play around with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I mean, I don't want to go the occult route at all. Like, that's not what I'm trying. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to go that route. But I would like, in regards to biblical, Christ-like spiritual encounters, I welcome that, and I feel like that's a lot for me to even say that and verbalize that out loud, because I want to say I just literally prayed that out loud today, and then yesterday, I prayed it in silence. But this morning was the first time I actually like said it out loud. Like, Lord, I welcome that if that's what you want to do with me. Because that's the thing too. After reading what the dream had to say on the, what the sites had to say that the dream or the things in the dream meant, it was giving me the impression that the Lord wants to do more with me, wants to probably, give me more gifts and things along those lines. And that on one hand it's exciting, but on the other hand it is kind of like, scary in a way, that for lack of a better word to say. And I mean, you know how sometimes maybe you could be, like they say, afraid of your greatness or something like that, and um so yeah, I mean, again, I've been praying that God's will be done. Hey Lord, if that's what you want to do with me, if you want to give me more gifts, whatever the case is, by all means, I accept. I'm willing to accept it. X, Y, and Z. I think there is something to be said about me catching that snake, with my hands. And there's also something to be said about for me asking for help after, and the snake is in my hand, and I was, asking for help. I think, I can't remember. I wish I had wrote down all this stuff, but I didn't know I was gonna go so deep and tell y'all everything. But basically, the thing about that stood out to me as I was looking up what different stuff meant and whatnot is that, the whole thing about asking for help, it was kind of saying like, I'm not confident in something, or in myself, or something like that, and that's why I'm asking for help. And I can see that. I can see that in the way that I've approached this whole thing, because yeah, there is a little bit of, fear there, a little bit of, just because I know that there's the unseen world and different things going on spiritually and whatnot. I mean, the Bible tells us that and everything like that. Now, have I seen something outside of dreams? No, I can't say that that's not my testimony at the moment. Now, if the Lord wants to start showing me things and whatnot, then I mean, obviously He has to build up my faith, right, in that area. He has to build me up, to be able to receive that and not be just, totally, I guess, scared or whatever, So I guess I share all of this to say that at the end of the day, I mean, I'm sure, whatever the Lord wants to do with me, He wants to do with, you or whoever's listening to the sound of my voice out here, And so I guess as I share my journey, right, as I share my testimony, as I share what God is doing with me, hopefully that encourages and inspires you on your journey and everything like that. So if there's anybody else that's like me, right, and was scared, is scared of tapping into the spiritual in regards to biblical, now let's be specific here, biblical spiritual things, then let us all build our faith in that area. Let us seek God for the wisdom, ask God for because He's there with us. He is there with us through each step and whatnot. And I feel like, these are things He used to communicate and whatnot. So my dream basically this morning kind of led me into looking up things centered around like well, okay, so I think I told y'all already. If not, I mean, y'all know that I have the gift of speaking in tongues. That's something that I have acquired. And it took me, not say it took me a while, but it kind of took me a while to get comfortable with that idea years ago. And now it's just one of those things where it just happens and it flows and I feel empowered and I pray and I feel good about that. I mean, now I am curious every now and then, exactly, what is it's a whole anyway. I share all this to say again that basically, we're gonna see what the Lord do with all of this regarding me and everything like that. I'm open to receiving more, even though, like I said, I was fine with just praying in tongues. But if the Lord wants to do more with me, which it seems like He wants to do, then I'm cool with that. And we don't see what the Lord do, and maybe if He wants me to share it, I will share it. But anywho, So with all of that being said, after I did my prayer meditation with the Soul Space app and cleared up my mind and all that different stuff, and um, I guess I was led to start looking up verses centered around doubt and fear. So here we go. James 1:6 says, "But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind." Yeah. No doubting, y'all. No doubting. We can ask in faith, and no doubting. Well, let me read this next verse because this is going to kind of go into like what was just on my heart and mind. So basically, the next verse that came across that I felt led to share was Matthew 21:21. It says, "And Jesus answered them, 'Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen.'" Now, okay, first of all, I heard this example several times, or I saw this example several times in the Bible, in several different places. And I mean, again, those that, grew up in the old Southern churches and whatnot, I'm sure y'all heard the song about the old mother, and the song that had the old mother was praying about the mountain, that her mountain got removed, and she believed all these years, and then people came and started taking down the mountain and whatnot, eventually and stuff. Yeah, I mean, so do we believe this? That's the question. The question is, do we believe what the Bible has to say about this? Like, do we believe this? I mean, the Bible has a lot to say about like what we have power to do, right? It says we can cast out devils. It says we can, we have direct access to God through Jesus. All these different things, right? That the Bible has to say, and including though in the midst of that, it says this: that hey, you can ask that a mountain be moved, and it will happen. Now, I don't know if people have tested this and whatnot. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that person a few years ago or last year that, somebody came and was like, "Oh, you really think God can do anything, or you really think so? So what if a person wants to, run 1,000 miles per hour, whatever their example was?" And it's like, well, if they don't believe they can, then I guess they can't. That's kind of how I summarized it at that moment. When I don't know if it was me, it was like I said, I'd be praying that the Lord say whatever He want to say through me. But yeah, I mean, is it just as simple as that? I mean, sometimes we say things, but then like in our heart, we still doubt. Um, so is that the reason why we are not operating in these gifts? You know, um, something to think about. Yes, something to think about. Um, and everything like that. But I mean, hey, perhaps we should try. I know, for example, the other day, that day actually that I took little man to catch air. We was on our way back home, and so this might be TMI. I don't know, but I'm just gonna let y'all know what be happening. But anyway, um, so when I have women's time, I know y'all like what. I guess y'all can put two and two together. Hopefully, if not, menstruation. I'll just say menstruation. So anyway, so when that time happens and whatnot, every now and then I would get these cramps. That now I know that my cramps can equate to the way that what's they called? Uh Man, when you're giving birth, the birth pains, the word went away from my mind, but the birth pains, they can correlate to those. And I would get those over the years back when I younger and whatnot, and I I would get those type of cramps, and they kind of stopped once I got pregnant. Obviously, I stopped getting them, and then I want to say maybe a year or so after I had our son, I wasn't really getting them but now, they're starting to kind of come back a little bit, but I try to combat them by, putting on my heating pad and things like that. So basically on my way back home on the other day, it I kind of seemed like the beginning stages of those pains trying to come in. And this type of verse came into my heart and mind about, like, if I speak over this thing, it will be gone, X, Y, and Z, and don't doubt and whatnot. So I did, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to focus on not doubting. I'm not going to, I'm not going to doubt. I'm going to speak this thing. I'm going to pray over myself and speak this thing, and try not to doubt, and stay, focus on the Lord, and that this is going to happen, X, Y, and Z. And so I just, I commanded that thing to be still and whatnot, and just, and held on to that, I guess that faith and whatnot, and kept going on home and whatnot. And I will say that, I really didn't feel it anymore. And then when I got home, I just put the heating pad on for reassurance. But yeah. So I mean, hey, I mean, that's just me. That's something that happened with me. It could be small to you, could be big for those that understand what those cramps feel like. But yeah. So yeah, can we be out here? you know, Commanding that the mountains be taken up and thrown into the sea. The Bible say it will happen. Something to think about. Anyway, let's keep going, y'all. 2 Timothy 1:7. I guess we're getting into the fear conversation now. So it says, For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. This is one of the verses that came into my heart and mind this morning when I thought about fear. When I thought about that, how afraid I was feeling by the dream and by the thoughts of tapping into seeing things spiritually or whatever, all that different type of stuff. At the end of the day, God has not given us the spirit of fear. So I need to cast that down anytime that tries to, show its little head in my life or whatnot. But yeah. So that's one thing. Then let's get into this other verse right here. It's Psalm 34:4. It says, I sought the Lord. He answered me and delivered me from all my fears. So again, I mean, if we want to get rid of the fears and whatnot, then what we need to do, we need to seek the Lord. Again, he's going to answer and deliver us according to this verse right here. And I guess according to, my life and testimony thus far, I can't do nothing but share that. One more verse, y'all. One more verse to share. And it's Joshua 1:9. It says, Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So, yeah, y'all. I mean, at the end of the day, I hope that encourages you and inspires you. If there's anything that you may be, in doubt or fear about, especially when it comes to like what the Lord wants to do with you, for you, and through you. I hope again that these things encourage you and inspire you. Guys can go deeper. There's a few more verses in the go deeper section to peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But friends, the Bible verse of today is Psalm 144:18. It says, The Lord is nigh unto all them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. But don't forget that tonight there's an episode of God, Sex, and Love, the talk show that will be going live at 7 p.m. It is a chat with Miss Bree Undeniably. That's what she goes by on social media, Bree Undeniably. But I'm going to call her Bree T, because I still don't want to mess up her last name, and I did not write it down this morning to say it. So, yeah, y'all can check that out tonight at 7. And I'll definitely want to shout out that, God, Sex, and Love, we here at GSL have received a monthly sponsor. So shout out to mailandmeat.com. Thank you all so much for becoming a sponsor of GSL. They have so many beautiful Afrocentric cards and so much more. And they seem to be customizable and like kind of handcrafted and everything like that. So go check them out. Melandmeet.com. That's MEL and MEET.com. And yeah, y'all. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you all tomorrow, the Lord's will. Bye bye. Hello, everyone. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you already know that your girl is now an author. And my very first publication is none other than a creation inspired by the juice. That's right, friends. You can go on Amazon.com and find the Juice 30-Day Bible Study Journal. And this, friends, I hope and pray will help you create your own Bible study experience similar to the one that your girl here shares with you every day here on God's Sex and Love.